Not indicate the game. Safe to say that the game was over in the first quarter tonight. Welcome to Nuggets Post-Game Live. Vic Lombardi, Chris Dempsey, and Chris Marlowe. Fellas, where do we begin with this one? Because you want to go into a post-game show defending the Nuggets' honor after what was said about them, but they didn't do anything to convince us they could.
Yeah, you have to defend your own honor first, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's what has to happen. And obviously, in the days leading up to this game, last couple of days, Jaden McDaniels' comments have been the thing that has been the most explosive thing. That's been the story that coming into today. And then the question really being, what was the Nuggets' response going to be on the court to those things? And obviously, this was a very difficult night for that. Right off the top, Minnesota had all the energy in this game, Chris, and it really did kind of just carry throughout.
Yeah, I'm totally shocked. I thought the Nuggets would come out with the eye of the tiger, and they didn't. They just were flat from the beginning. Jokic took a number of threes, didn't make them. I thought that kind of deflated them at the top, and then it kind of snowballed from there. They couldn't make a three. They couldn't make a shot. They got behind. They dragged a little bit. There were some flashes where you thought, hey, maybe they'll get back into the game. Maybe they can close it up a little bit, get to 12, get to 10, but they just didn't have it tonight. And credit Minnesota. Minnesota played great. They backed up what they said.
Yeah.
Walk the walk. Is
yeah,
what
they did.
Yeah, you said eye of the tiger. It looked more like eye of the lamb in that first quarter. Let's take a look at the first quarter because that's all you really need to know from this game. It was over in the first. Everything else was just, well, a lot of this. I mean, Jaden McDaniels, from the get-go, guys, he was out to prove his words were not just words.
Right, and 11 points in the first quarter, man. Now, I mean, that is defense and energy and everything that you need to disrupt an offense, make sure that they get off on the complete wrong foot, and that's exactly what the Minnesota Timberwolves did. Just everywhere on the court. And then meanwhile, they started getting to the rim, and this started to become an exact story of what they were saying it might be. And so, the Nuggets are going to have to get this sorted out in a real way.
Yeah, I thought this would be a test for the Denver Nuggets. I agree with Vic, kind of a test on how tough you are, what kind of moxie you have as a basketball team. And quite frankly, the Nuggets didn't have it tonight. Now, they still have another game coming up that can equal the series. They can even the series up. And we're going to find out a lot about this Denver Nuggets team on Saturday, what they can do, how they regroup, how do they get going, motivation, so many things, execution. Minnesota's just they're on top of them on all
Guys,
of that.
in that first quarter, by the way, excuse me, Chris, the Nuggets were held to 11 points, right? They shot 3 for 21 in that first quarter. Nikola missed his first 6 shots. He came out really active. Like, I want to send a message. Couldn't score.
Yeah.
Couldn't score. So Jaden McDaniels made comments about the Nuggets' defense, right? It was their offense that let them down tonight.
It's interesting that you say that is because I think we went into this game in the pregame show saying, look, as interesting as it sounds, this series really is the Nuggets' #1 offense versus one of the better defenses in the league, and which one of these units was going to impose its will on the other. Now, as we're seeing the starting 5 right here, you understand that means that Minnesota's defense really imposed its will on the Nuggets' offense. And even though Nikola has 27 points in this game, it's on 7 of 26 shooting, and it's they hounded him all night long. The three-point shots didn't go down. I mean, look, they had Minnesota in the last 2 games. They had 68 points in the paint here today. 122 points in the paint in the last 2 games, 122 to the Nuggets 74. And when you're just going to get easy bucket after easy bucket, you're going to press the paint, and that's your return. It's very, very difficult, especially when you only make 8 3-pointers to overcome that.
I had so many people come up to me in the last couple of days and say, well, does Jokic need to be more assertive? Does he need to take more shots? Does he need to be more aggressive in this first quarter? And I said, yes, I agree with that. I want to see Jokic shoot the ball more. I didn't really think about the making part of the he came out right away. He had good shots. He had good looks. He just was not hitting tonight. And, maybe things are different if he comes out and makes, 4 of 6 threes to start off and sets a tone. But it just didn't happen.
Sorry, guys, my microphone fell off, just sort of like the Nuggets tonight.
The shot quality I thought wasn't horrific in the first quarter.
No.
There were just some shots that they make that they just didn't.
They had
make.
open looks.
And so when you couple that with the actual now possessions where the defense was really good, that's how you get to 11 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's how you get to, what is it, 30? They didn't shoot under 40% in the season, all season long.
Not
until today.
Yeah.
And so that's, it's usually a combination of things when that happens.
Let's take a break. When we come back, hopefully get some sound from Minneapolis. We'll show you the highlights.
There's Game 7 before that. McDaniel's comments after the game. Just how did this group come out so flat tonight?
Well, the shooting was, really put us behind the 8 ball to start the game. They only gave up 25 points in the first quarter. That's actually a very good number. We just had a hard time making shots tonight. And I think, we talked about it after the game. Our physicality offensively has got to get better. I thought our physicality defensively in the second half was much better. I went small. I tried to put a shooting lineup out there, and that led to what we knew could happen, the size issue. It's just the way it is. They got to the paint, and then if you double that with transition, that's just, you're going to put yourself in a tough spot, not to mention only 39 points at the half. So I did think throughout the second half we found some things defensively, but offensively we got to screen better, we got to cut better, we got to handle the pressure we did tonight.
David, Rudy's defended Nikola very well in this series. They've defended him as a team very well. Are you concerned at all about the 5 for 16 from 2-point range? Like, is there anything that you're seeing as far as just his touch inside the arc right now?
He just missed.
Okay.
I really mean it. I think, I thought the threes were actually really good shots for the most part. The 2-point shots, as far as the face-up jumpers, getting to the rim, these are things that he's going to do, and he had a tough night. And it happens to players. This guy's played a million playoff games. There's nights that are poor, and I think he'll bounce back. And I think everybody needs a day to understand that we just did not play well offensively. You look at the stats, we only had 10 turnovers in this game. It just was the pressure. I thought we didn't exert physicality, offensively to help each other out. And I thought when we got sped up from their pressure, that led to some unorganized possessions in the first half. And we have to understand, on the road, much like last year with the Clipper series, you have to execute. You got to get great shots each time down. And obviously, everybody tonight struggled from the field, shooting 34%, 25 from 3. That's not who we've been throughout the season. And usually on those kind of nights, I would come in here and say, we can't turn it over 19 times, give up 30 points. That's not what happened today. So lots to improve on offensively, and a lot of stuff I think we can build on defensively.
And then did you feel like
It's Coach Adelman, and he focused on physicality and the size issue. I totally agree with him on the physicality. You guys heard me barking about it upstairs. And it starts with this. You were called out by a specific player. And early in that game, that player drives baseline, and it's this. Where's the physicality?
Yeah, so that's that's the defensive physicality. Take a hard foul. Let's
be abundantly clear. Nothing cheap, but where's the physicality?
Mm-hmm. And look, yes, correct on that. And also, David Adelman, was really focused on the offensive physicality and the screening and everything. And when you get a team like Minnesota, much like OKC. They're not just about to let you just go anywhere on the court. And if you have the basketball, they're going to close down space and just see if you can handle that pressure everywhere. And so it is incumbent upon you as a team to be able to look as an individual, get the defender off of you, get to where you're going from a cutting or screening standpoint. When you're screening, set a screen that may even put them on the ground to make sure that what you can do is stay on schedule offensively. And then the Nuggets were not able to do that. Look, Chris, they had 12 assists in this game.
4 in the first half?
4 in the first half. There's very few stats that say more about the health of your offense in a game than assists.
Yeah.
And the Nuggets are usually routinely around 30. It means everything's moving, everything's flowing, everything's fluid. And when they're bogged down like this, something has gone very wrong.
Yeah, it's so unusual to listen to David Adelman or any other Nuggets coach ever talk about the inefficiency of the offense. And I think if the Nuggets are going to bounce back in this series and get the win on Saturday and then go on to Monday, they've got to figure out how to get Nikola Jokic